Welcome to our podcast, Stars Among Us. And today we have a very dynamic personality with us, Ajan Akash. With love, we call her TikTik. And she is a fashion stylist. Let's hear her story from her. Tell us more about you and what do you do?
Thank you so much, first of all, and my beloved Ranjana Dee for inviting me to this platform. And honestly speaking, we, like me particularly, we don't get so much of invitations for podcast, and I have done a very few, and this one is special for me. And thank you. And about my profession, I work as a professional fashion stylist, and I was based out of Delhi. And after the lockdown, I had to travel back because of my mom and a lot of other things. So I have been currently working as a costume stylist and costume designer. I have started doing show direction as well. And so far so good. And it's been like more than the basic thing is that I have been into this industry for the longest time because my dad was a cinematographer and my mom is a national award winner.
Wow.
So she's a producer. So like I worked as a child artist also. So if I go by my work graph, so I worked as an infant, then as a teenager, as a adult. So I've been working my whole life. So
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. So TikTik, I admire you so much for your bold statements, for taking the calls and how you stand for yourself. So, when did you start your journey and what inspired you to take this path?
So, about my start, I started basically styling in 2011. So, while doing this, 2014, I'm lucky enough to have represented the whole nation for Miss Trans Queen 2014, which was held in Visakhapatnam. So, and I won it. So, the kind of appreciation and position that the southern people have for the trans community has been tremendous. So it was there inside my heart. So once I shifted back from Delhi to Guwahati to start my work, then I met a very dear friend of mine, Palash Bora. He's like a little brother to me. He is a United Nations think tank leader. So and then while in a general conversation, I said I wanted to do something for the trans community. And then when the universe conspires, I happen to have a degree in social work as well, right? So it is there, and while working also, the kind of things that I had to face because of my gender identity, so that motivated me to come up with this plan of beautiful Miss TransNortheast and Transclave.
Okay.
So that's how it started, right? So now it's our third year, and by God's grace, we have been doing quite good. And this year we have the whole year we have to plan and work for the trans community, which we are doing, like for HIV awareness, their trans identity cards, and various other problems that the trans community faces. Yeah.
So TikTik, we see everybody in our life, we all faces challenges, right? But as I see, you have already reached in certain level, and then you must have faced your challenges also as well. So tell us about your challenges.
Honestly speaking, it's challenges are faced by every individual in their lives.
Yeah.
But there are degrees of challenges, right? And also, it's not that only the trans community is facing challenges.
Of course.
Women faces challenges.
Yes.
Men also have issues.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
But the thing is, the population of the trans community is lesser than both the other population, right? So what happens, even if, one transgender person does some mistakes, right?
Okay.
For any crime or any mistake, the entire population of the trans community gets trolled for. Right,
Yes.
For example, if some trans person does a theft, so it's like the news will say transgender stealing money.
Got it.
Right?
Got it.
So isn't that a major problem?
Label.
So labeling is a major problem. Like for
Yes.
example, for one mistake of somebody, you cannot
Blame.
you cannot sum up the whole population together.
course.
If somebody is into a bad act, for example, a woman is into a bad act, or a man, news doesn't say that men are thieves or men are doing, loot or whatever.
Got it.
Right?
Yes.
So that is a problem. And then, when it comes to people who identify as trans, there are problems related to jobs. Now the BNS has got provisions, and after 2019, the Trans Act, the transgender population is protected. They have their own rights and responsibilities and everything. However, they have equal rights to apply for jobs. Like it's simple. BNS states that it's simple, right?
Yes.
If you're educated, you have degree, you apply for the job. If you are good, you get it.
Yes.
Simple as that.
Yes.
And but when it comes to giving jobs, I will not say that the government is doing some wrong, because it is not. Provisions are made by the government, but the thing is, the trans community does not know about their rights, because again, everything is interconnected. Everything is interconnected.
Correct.
Okay, when you're talking about hardships and the problems and challenges, everything is interconnected, right? Because of the psychological trauma a trans person goes through.
Correct.
They are unaware of their rights, right? Because they are not able to pursue higher level of education. It is a very few which will take up education as priority, which is why I keep shouting, educate your trans child, educate a trans person, because it is very important. Because once you are educated, you will know your rights, hence you will not have to face hardships in your life.
So TikTik, as you have been fighting for your rights or your community, do you think, is there any change? Can you see some change in the mindset of people or from government side?
Provisions are there.
Yes.
It has been provided to us by the government of India, right? Implementing agencies are there. But the thing is, it is like inviting people for a birthday with gifts. They come, and the person whose birthday it is not taking the gift. So it is not only the person or the agency which is giving the rights, but also the receiver's end, because a lot of sensitization is required right now. A lot of sensitization is required in policing as well, because the whole community is so vulnerable to crime, because they lack in proper housing facilities, right? So they have to put themselves up at a place wherein the crime levels are very high.
Got it.
Right.
Understood.
So these are all connected, and this is a very heavy question, and these factors stop the growth. However, through TGOSC and Snehbandhan Bond of Love, which is our NGO, it's a CBO. So we have been able to give transgender ID cards right now, and we have a separate line at the GMC.
Oh, very
okay.
good. This is what I'm talking.
Yes.
Like, are you seeing the result of
Yes,
coming
yes.
out? Yes.
And Rome was not built in a day. And this is not a very simple community we are talking about. And there are also divisions there. The whole Kinder community is there.
Yes.
Their struggles are different. There are trans men, there are trans women, and then there are genderqueer people also who comes into this umbrella.
Yes.
So we are giving them transgender ID cards. Right? So now I think it's almost 450 cards that have been given.
Oh,
right?
nice.
And then we are also working for testing them for HIV, syphilis, and any other HPVs that exist. And we have been attending a lot of conferences outside Guwahati, which happens in Delhi and other states. But the thing is, it is a mammoth task. It is not so simple.
I know.
However, we are now able to do it here, because I will not say the ORWs. The people who go and outreach. Outreaching is a major problem.
Got it.
Because the Kinder community is not available all the time. They have to feed themselves. They will go door to door. They will go, bus. They will go on trains to beg. Everybody says begging is bad. I will also say begging is bad. But what will they do?
Yes. Unless they start getting
Did
jobs.
anybody ask them? And the transgender, girls who does prostitution.
Yes.
You can mute that because sex work. You can mute that also. We are not able to say condom on camera. Wherein there are campaigns being run by the AIDS Control Society.
Yes.
Distribution of condoms. But we are not supposed to say condom. We are not supposed to say safe sex. Safe will be there, sex is muted.
And now the last question. Where do you envision yourself down the line in 5 years, 10 years? Where do you want to see, and what do you want to do for your community to uplift them?
So this is an interesting question, okay? Because where do I envision myself in next future, right?
Yes.
I would only say one thing, that the life has become so fast, right? And people ain't getting old nowadays. My mom is 62. She's not getting old. She's still maintaining her position,
Yes.
right? So me being her, it'll take time now, because like God give her like 150 years of life. People who will look up to, they are not leaving their chairs. They are still holding on to it. They are doing it nicely, right? They are doing good job. Nobody is getting old. Technology, you can say good medical healthcare facilities. You can say my grandmother is 95, still strong. Not leaving her position yet. So what happens to us is like we have to run. People of my age, we are running. So envision does not come right now.
Yes.
It's like, okay, that particular person is doing this, so when are we going to do that thing, right?
Yeah.
So it'll take time, but my envision is such, that our society should be such that every person should be thriving for its betterment. Individual, it could be individual betterment.
Yeah.
When an individual is enlightened, or an individual is doing good, that person will not go and do things which will hurt the society.
Absolutely.
Right? So in turn, that person is also contributing towards the society. Ki, I'm doing good and I'm contributing something for the society. So I envision myself as somebody in a society wherein, again, if I come back to the trans community, has got equal opportunity and equal freedom to do things like any other gender person.